The U.S. Supreme Court today heard oral arguments in a key voting rights case in Arizona. Justices asked tough questions of lawyers who are in dispute over the legality of two Republican-backed voting restrictions in that state.
NewsNation's Felicia Bolton has details on the implications this case could have not just in Arizona, but all across the country. Felicia.
The case is attracting a lot of attention from both sides of the aisle. Some argue the case could further weaken the Voting Rights Act, which bans racial discrimination in voting. Others who support these two laws say it will add more integrity and security to the election process.
The Honorable, the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices of the Supreme Court of the United States.
Set before the U.S. Supreme Court is a case that could impact voting laws in the state of Arizona. On Tuesday, oral arguments began in Brnovich versus Democratic National Committee. Arizona's Republican Attorney General Mark Brnovich is defending two state laws that have been struck down in lower courts. One is an out-of-precinct policy that would toss out a ballot that is cast at the wrong polling location. The other is the ballot collection law, known as House Bill 2023, which permits only certain persons to handle another person's completed early ballot. The law allows family, household members, caregivers, mail carriers, and election officials to cast ballots for others. Anyone else would be charged with a felony for doing so. Travis Crum is a professor of law at Washington University in St. Louis.
You didn't hear much about the constitutionality of the act today.
He says this case would be hard for the DNC to win.
I'm still predicting that they're going to have a hard time convincing a 6-3 conservative court to rule in their favor.
Sean Morales Doyle is the deputy director of Brennan Center for Justice, a nonpartisan voters' rights group. He says Democrats argue the laws discriminate against minority voters.
The Democratic Party and some voters challenged both of those policies as racially discriminatory under the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and eventually won the case in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
He says he's concerned that ruling in favor of the Attorney General of Arizona could cause a chain reaction in other states and weaken voters' rights overall.
The case could just be a case about these two Arizona policies and whether or not they're discriminatory, depending on how the court rules. But the Arizona AG and the Arizona Republican Party have asked the court really to look beyond these two policies in Arizona and instead weigh in on how the Voting Rights Act should work.
And based on today's argument, some law experts say the justices appeared ready to uphold Arizona's voting laws, but a decision is expected by the end of June.